Alright, round 2. Time sending us a message. Keep. We have 3 lands. Seems like a good hand. 3 lands is probably a deck. Alright, looks like we're up against black control deck, so let's see whether or not the splash of blue is good mirror. Sign of blood. Right now our opponent probably thinks we're on Trinket Mage or maybe Teaching Stack. All we have is played 2 spells that just, 2 lands that are both dual lands, so. Cycles the Baron more. Passes. I'm assuming this guy will not live very long. The Ranger is destined for the grave. Probably gonna get a verdict before my end of turn. It lasted until the end of my turn, maybe as Tendrils or a Merchant. Tendrils, alright. Now I have some options. Either just play out the Augur, or I could go for the Grey Merchant here. Grey Merchant's a 4 drain, but that one is very high on life, so it doesn't matter that much. But I want to go with the Grey Merchant just because they'll get the 4-point gain right here and probably die on his turn, and then I can play Augur next turn and he won't have whatever removal he used on the Grey Merchant. Discard a slot. I'll put a stop on my uptown. Pestilence. Ghostly Flicker. There's an interesting here. To edict or not to edict? That is an interesting question. If I think he has Shinobi in hand, I definitely want to edict him, but if he doesn't have Shinobi in hand, edict him means that you can use Pestilence without having any kind of loss to it. And also, if I don't edict, he can stop me from getting an effective Ghostly Flicker with his Pestilence. So that's unfortunate. I will just Flicker now. Blue. And also go. Hopefully he doesn't edict me and then shinobi me. That would stink. Wonder if I attack and he has Pestilence up, how will he block? He could block with the Chittering Rat, but seems like it will hurt him just as bad. What is the likelihood he is holding a Shinobi in hand? And if I double edict him, he will just Pestilence for 4. I'm just going to throw out his Augur. He can kill it with Pestilence, but then he has to take out his own Ravenous Rats. And in fact, if I regenerate it once, he'll have to... he could have done Pestilence for 1 there, made me regenerate, and do Pestilence for 1 on his turn. Pretty sure he's going to have to kill the Augur here, because he does not want to discard those 2 cards in hand. Let's see, if he plays a Grey Merchant now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7-point drain. It will bring him up to 20, and me down to 22. Imagining he's going to do Pestilence for at least 4 here, and wipe the board. Then he might play a creature, but hopefully I should be able to edict away any creatures that he has, and he will lose Pestilence. Corrupt. Yep. Let's see, I could edict myself here to make Pestilence go away, but I don't want to do that because I'm slightly up on the life totals. My opponent has had a bit of a mana flood. Another Corrupt. Well, my opponent is pretty close to being able to... Yeah, if my opponent draws another Corrupt, he can just Corrupt and Pestilence me to death. But this will help me gain some life, assuming he doesn't have a Guess Verdict right here. Alright, so we're both at 16, with my opponent having 9 Swamps in play and Pestilence. I assume he's going to wipe the board here. Hopefully he does not play a Grey Merchant. Does. Oh, he plays a Shinobi, so it looks like I was right to be playing around Shinobi earlier. Yeah, Edict will take care of Pestilence, and that will be it this turn. Hopefully he does not have the Mind Wrench here, or I will lose my Muldrifter if he does. Interesting. If my opponent has one card in hand, that just makes playing the Spectre more enticing than the Muldrifter. Hopefully it's not instant speed removal, and it's a swamp. Yeah, my opponent's definitely getting mana flooded. At least for on his sake, or on his side, he did draw 2 corrupts, so that really helps out. I'll be able to play the Muldrifter and the Edict, and swing for 2. Alright, now my opponent is playing off the top of his deck, and we have Siphon Life, which should be very good. Opponent's at 6, Siphon Life will bring him to 4. And we are, in fact, out of corrupt range. He has 10 swamps in play, we're at 13. So, corrupt top deck will not win anything for him. I probably should not have played that swamp. No, I definitely should not have played that swamp. I should have saved that swamp for the Siphon Life. Alright, we win game 1. How on earth do I want a sideboard for this matchup? Part of me wants to bring in the Font of Turn, but this is still left over from my mono black deck when I wasn't exiling cards in my graveyard. Obviously, Choking Sands is garbage. It can only hit Baron Moore, which is something I will also be cycling. Stinkweed Imp, Brick Rats, Rika's Cure, Child of Night, and Disfigure. Oh boy. I'll bring in at least one font. Now, what is not good against him? Let's see. He's playing one of the more discardy versions of the deck with those rats that he has, the 1/1s. Which kind of makes me want to have a lower curve and not have 4 cruises. I find I often want to side out at least 1 cruise because a delve card with a high casting cost is not what you necessarily want 4 of. Now, what do I think about Siphon Life in this matchup? So ideally, that's in there for the burn matchup. I think I'll take out the Siphon Life here. Now what will I put in for the Siphon Life? I could play another Crypt Rat, or I'll put in the other font overturn. 30 seconds. Let's see. Anything else I would want against his deck? So I take out the Devour Flesh? I think I should. I'll put in the Siphon Life back for that. It's a handy enough matchup where getting able to cast that repeatedly could be useful. Especially now that I do not have Corrupt in this version because I went with all the non-basic dual lands. Alright, what to discard? What to discard? It's either going to be the Ooblet or the Ghostly Flicker. I do have 2 Ragers in hand, which would be interesting Ghostly Flicker targets. Because of that, I will discard the Ooblet. Swamp Witches. French Mind is very good in this matchup, and my opponent has 2 cards in hand right now. Hopefully he will not play more than one of those cards here, and well, he draws one and he plays another Ooblet. So I got to turn those rats into target. Oh no, he played another card. Target opponent discards a land and takes a point of damage. Why on earth did this menu just pop up? I will be bringing out Shinobi as opposed to doing anything else, just because that gets me, I believe, the most value. Hopefully my opponent does not, or even Pestilence, will not be for enough. Definitely should have played that kind of. But my opponent has no cards in hand, and I have cards in hand and a creature on the board. That effect has no effect now. I will also add a Mole Drifter to the board. And this game is looking very good. My opponent's going to have to draw like a Pestilence to get out of this. I'm putting a stop on my opponent's draw step because I will be ghostly flickering. Because this Chittering Rot does nothing right here. But if I flicker it and he does not draw an instant, that will be a good game. He knew what I had. Alright, so that is round 2. And we are 2-0. So I'll see you for round 3.